Those calls to change the nation's policing practices are at the heart of many of the recent protests, but demonstrators have also been calling attention to other forms of systemic racism, demanding action to address disparities in wealth, housing, healthcare, and more, all issues my next guest has been working on for years. Monica Cannon-Grant is the founder and CEO of the nonprofit group Violence in Boston. She organized last week's peaceful protest in Franklin Park and many others before. Also the host of the podcast, The Activist Hour. Oh, and in her spare time, she grocery shops for more than 1,700 people a day in concert with the restaurant Food for the Soul, helps distribute meals to people who've been struggling in the middle of the pandemic. Monica, thanks so much for joining me. I appreciate it.
No problem. Thanks for having me.
Before we get started, can you tell people watching where you're going?
I'm on my way to meet with Emerald, who is the daughter of Eric Gardner. Today they passed legislation in New York in regards to the chokeholding bill. It passed, and so I'm going to meet her so we can lay flowers where he was murdered.
You know, speaking of Eric Garner, I don't know if you've seen this Monmouth University poll, and the question they ask, are police officers more likely to use excessive force on a black person? 57% a couple of days ago said yes. After the killing of Alton Sterling in Louisiana in July of 2016, only 34% said yes. And after the execution of Eric Garner in December of 2014 in Staten Island, only a third said yes. What do you attribute the dramatic increase in people understanding what's really going on to?
I think Will Smith said it best. It's not that it just started happening, it's that we have video footage. I think more and more people are starting to realize that every time we watch one of these videos, black people are dying at the hands of police officers, and it doesn't matter what they're doing. They're in their house, they're sleeping, they're eating ice cream, they're standing, they're sitting, they're listening to music, they're selling loose cigarettes. At this point, it doesn't matter what we do. We're dying at the hands of police officers across the country.
But there is a difference. We watched Eric Garner be murdered too. And the numbers, again, only a third of the American people 6 years ago said that they thought it was more likely that a cop would use excessive force on a black person. Something must have changed. What is it?
Only thing I can tell you, Jim, is that black folks are tired. We're exhausted. We're not taking it anymore. And Dick Gregory, he said it on this video years ago. He said, it's not that we're more tolerant. It's that we have to stop accepting it. And I think for a long time, black people as a whole have been in a war that we never showed up for. And I think now we're showing up, and we're showing up in droves. And I think that's the thing that changed this time.
You know, you wrote a piece, or co-wrote a piece in Commonwealth magazine before the murder of George Floyd, in which you said that COVID-19 is a symptom of structural racism. Well, it seems pretty obvious that the obscene unemployment rates for African-American teens is a symptom. Police brutality is a symptom. So if you don't treat all the symptoms, can you ever cure the disease?
Absolutely not. It's similar to what you would do with cancer. You have to cut it out, and then you have to, radiation, I believe, and take a number of different medications. We have to eradicate it altogether. Racism and hatred is taught and learned behavior, which means it can change.
You know, most of the leaders in this state are white politicians. Do they get it? I mean, I read the piece about you in the Globe the other day about your first meeting after demanding one with Mayor Walsh for months and months, in which he acknowledges the first thing he said to you is, can you stop calling me MFer? But he filled in the blanks. Does he get it? Do most...
Happy Tuesday. Happy Tuesday. It's going down over here. Happy Tuesday. We back. I'm back. Thank y'all for being here on this Tuesday night. What's this, the 23rd? So appreciate y'all for joining me. I'm Joseph Ward. If this is your first time here, this is On the Shoulders of Giants live. And on Tuesdays, we have some fun. We do some learning, but we have some fun. We talk about various topics that affect our community. And, you know, we break it down the way we do it over here, but we make sure we have some fun while we're doing what we do. So thank you for being here. Happy Tuesday to you. And when you come in, make sure you hit that like button. Please hit that like button. Jump in the comments, say hey, tell us where you from, all those things in that comment section, because we getting it in tonight. We're gonna have some fun on this Tuesday night for an hour or so, and then do our thing. We're talking about Monica Cannon Grant. I wanted to let this video play. We're gonna let this video play first because this is her, being in activist mode. But what we found out is Monica Cannon Grant, she going to jail. She going to prison. She going down the road. She going up north. Reports say that she pled guilty to fraud. So this is really what we're getting into. So this first video is her being the activist. But then I got the next videos are going to show or going to talk about what happened to her between 2022 and now, being indicted on fraud charges. But also the latest is, and as of today, the latest is she's pled guilty to fraud charges. So I have some information from justice.gov that I'm gonna get into today, and we're gonna talk about with Monica Cannon Grant. After that, we're gonna have some more fun. We're gonna talk about this king and queen, the supposed king and queen, this cult that's formed in Scotland. And they only got one member, but the member they got is a young lady who shouldn't be there. So we're gonna get into that. And then I got a police cam video where this white dude is trying to use his whiteness and white victimhood to get a black woman arrested. So we, like I said, we're gonna have some fun, but we're gonna do some learning tonight. So let's do how we do. First and foremost, I want to acknowledge everybody in the building. Terrell, thank you for becoming a member, and thank you for getting that comment section. I really appreciate you, my brother. Thank you. Me Kim, what's going on? Me Kim, how you doing? You always welcome here. Anywhere we go, you always welcome. Thank you for all that you do, all your contributions. Thank you. So Nemesis X is in the building. What's going on, my brother? You say you never heard of her. It's whatever on these scammers. Man, look at here. They everywhere. They are everywhere, and it's crazy. Like it's just so much happening at one time. I never heard of her before either. I forgot which social media platform I was scrolling, and I came across the story of Monica Cannon Grant, and I found out that she was indicted on fraud charges. So she former Black Lives Matter. Of course, it would be Black Lives Matter, right? Of course, it would be connected to Black Lives Matter, but she started her own organization, Violence Boston, or Boston Violence, or something like that. And that organization she's used to scam the people. So, we're gonna learn a lot more about what's going on with her. But these scammers are everywhere. One thing, the scammers are running rampant, but another thing, the community is so gullible. The community, some people are so desperate for salvation outside of themselves that they're willing to attach themselves to anything that makes them feel good, even if that thing isn't good for them. And speaking of scams, y'all know it's the 23rd, so we really not supposed to be here. So everybody who here on this live, I appreciate y'all for being on this live, because the rapture is supposed to be happening. The buddy on TikTok said the rapture is supposed to happen on the 23rd and the 24th, and I'm still here. I went to work today. I still got to go to work tomorrow. I don't know if anybody told the rapture, but I'm still here. So Terrell still here, me Kim still here, and Nemesis still here, and everybody watching still here. So I don't know about this rapture. It says I'm kind of tired. Going to send you a link when you're done on this kind of ish. There's another movement to create white. Oh yeah, I need that. Yeah. The similar to them people in Arkansas. Yeah, send that to me, please, my brother. Yeah. So yeah, but we getting it in today. We're gonna have some fun. Like I said, this is Monica Cannon Grant. So once again, this first video is her in action as an activist, but then like they say on social media, 2 minutes later everything changed. It was all good just a week ago for Monica Cannon Grant. So make sure you hit that like button, comment, subscribe, share. We're exposing these scammers, but we putting people up on game. But we got to be smarter. The community has to be smarter. Hold up, before I get into the video, I do want to give a shout out to my members, my channel members. Terrell, Ron Riley, DSB, Abu Salam, Mumim, Who's Left Entertainment, Mama Deb, LB, Corey RT, Tisha, Patrick, Say Builds, and Professor Carl Tone Jones. I appreciate all of you all for being members of this channel. And you know, YouTube got this community spotlight feature. So top commenters is Say Builds, Nemesis X, L Reed, Patrick Irvin, Samar 666, Anne-Marie Matumbo, Christine Williams, Right Now, Ursa, Mahan Worlds, Cortez White, D Stevens 100, Terrell, Battle Genja, Professor Carl Tone Jones, Sael, Nikki. Appreciate y'all. Y'all the top commenters, so I appreciate y'all. And I will say this. I don't think they're capturing all these comments from the live, because if so, that list supposed to be, and it's supposed to be more names on that, but that's how it go down. So let's get back into it. Monica Cannon Grant, she's been caught scamming and she going to jail. But let's listen to her in action, in scamming action, though.
White politicians in power in the state, did they get it, Monica?
So I think that the mayor does get it, but I don't think any white politician can fully understand what it is to be black in this country. Me and him have multiple conversations, as well as Attorney General Maura Healey, and I believe, like, on a basic level, they understand. They understand the inequities, they understand the economic disadvantage, and they understand that something has to be done. But no one will fully understand unless you wake up in this country and automatically, before you open your mouth, you're immediately judged, you're immediately beat, you're immediately treated differently, and God forbid you have a name that they can't pronounce. And it's just all downhill from there. And a lot of the things that we've had to teach our children and be taught as people are switching is a lot.
Monica, this afternoon, a Black Youth Coalition in Boston was scheduled to march to a hearing at City Hall asking, and under the banner of give us 10%, meaning reallocate 10% of the money that goes to the Boston police force to a variety of community and social functions of government. Is partial defunding or reallocation the path out of this mess, or can it be done without that?
It's definitely one of the paths out of this mess. You have to think, you cannot continuously decrease funding on prevention, decrease funding on alternatives, and think that we're going to come to a positive solution.
And you can't keep scamming money and spending money that wasn't supposed to be spent on your personal stuff and think the community is going to come to positive solutions, Monica. So, you know, I'm playing, like I said, I'm playing this because this is her being an activist, right? This is her doing her thing, but listening to what she's saying and then looking at the fallout, right? She sounds like a broken record of stuff said for the past. Right at this point, you either get it or you don't want to at this point, right? I'm just saying, we either gonna get right or we ain't. Like, they not gonna change because you're trying to appeal to their morals. We talk about that all the time. They don't give a damn about how we feel about it. They don't give a damn about morals, right? They don't care about none of that stuff. It's either you gonna make me move or I ain't gonna move. And we need to understand that. But once again, she's saying all this stuff, but behind the scenes, she's taking people's money and using it for her own personal gain. An ex-BLM, she's a BLM affiliate, but an ex-member or maybe a current member, but I know she started her own organization.
And we're not going to arrest ourselves out of this issue. This is not a situation where you're going to arrest everyone and it's going to work. So that's definitely a part of it, but I think there are more things that need to be done in addition to that.
Well, yeah, I want to know what would get you to a point where you trust the police. In that piece in the Globe, it mentioned that rather than trusting the police to provide security at your peaceful protest, huge protest at Franklin Park, you offered black men in the community $100 each, which they did not accept, but plenty of them came to provide security. What would get you to a point where you'd feel comfortable calling the Boston police to provide security for an event like the one that you led several days ago? What would change things for you?
Jim, I'm a black woman in America. I will never trust the police.
what's the criteria to be a leader these days? You just need to be popular? Is the criteria to be like followed or seen as a leader just like have enough followers? If you got like 100,000 followers or more, is that like the basic criteria to be like a leader, to get followed, or like what, to be asked, just be charismatic or just start an organization? Is that like the basic criteria to be a leader today? Because I'm just trying to figure out, because it's like anybody could be a leader today. Like anybody could be followed. Like no matter if they're not producing anything, no matter what they're doing behind the scenes, even if people find out what's going on behind the scenes, people are still following these people. So what's going on with our community? Like, and I know that's a rhetorical question, but it's like, I just need to say it out loud. Like, when are we going to damn wake up? Like, visibility, and it's so easy to be a leader. Like, you don't have to have no credentials. Like, you don't have to have, talk about morals, talking about appealing to somebody else's moral when you out there with no moral character yourself. That's why you've been indicted and have pled to being guilty. Look at that face and look at the shirt she's wearing. So it's all bull. You scamming off the backs of dead black people. You ought to be ashamed of your goddamn self, lady. Scamming off the backs of black people who've been murdered by the people you say you hate. You say you hate the police, especially for what they've done to black people. But yet you scamming the same black people that you say you hate, that have been taken out by the people that you hate. You said it. Cold-blooded out here.
No matter what.
No matter what.
No reforms, no changes, nothing gets you to that point.
Nothing. When you think about the origin of the police department, their origin was never to be created to protect and serve me. It was to catch and return slaves. I love to read and I love to pay attention. And so there are the systematic racism that is entrenched in that system will never make me comfortable enough to believe that they can protect me.
Monica, I wish that.
I bet she called the police when stuff go wrong. We know she called the police when stuff go wrong. She lying. She putting on the front right now. Like they say down in Duval County, she green. She lying, man. You know she called the police when she need to. But this is the facade that she got to put on so she can make sure she get these donations that she can spend on herself.
That was my first question, not my last. I hope we can continue this maybe next week, because that's an important thing to explore. Thank you very much for your time. I know you're on your way to New York. Thanks so much for spending time with me.
Anytime, Jim. Thank you for having me.
Breaking.
So you heard her. You heard her. You heard what she was saying. You heard what she's talking about, what she stands for. You heard what she's talking about. And her and the gentleman talk about what she does. You know, her being a force in a community in Boston. And then this happens. Indictment in 2022. Her and her husband, I believe, stealing money. So let's listen.
Now at noon, federal fraud charges against the founder of the nonprofit called Violence in Boston, as well as her husband. Good afternoon, everybody. Thanks for joining us. I'm Paula Eben. Prosecutors say Monica Cannon Grant and her husband took money donated to the organization and spent it on themselves. WBZ's Anna Meilers at federal court to show us the charges they now face.
Monica Cannon Grant and her husband are facing serious charges of fraud and conspiracy, accused of spending money meant for community causes on their own rent, hotels, restaurants, and more. Monica Cannon Grant started the organization Violence in Boston in 2017 with a mission to help survivors of violence. And in 2020, she became a prominent figure organizing protests following the killing of George Floyd.
We have to realize that, like, all of us have to work together. And if some of us are doing a little bit better than others, then we should reach in to help.
Now, an 18-count federal indictment reveals scathing accusations that Cannon Grant and her husband, Clark Grant, used charitable donations on themselves. According to court documents, Cannon Grant and her husband presented themselves as unpaid leaders of the nonprofit. But authorities say Cannon Grant paid herself an income of more than $25,000 in 2020 and more than $170,000 in 2021.
She went from 25K paying herself to 107K paying herself. But also saying that she's not getting paid through the organization. But yeah, you're not getting paid through the organization. You take it from the organization. But in the first video, you're talking all that activist stuff, talking all that black stuff, all that community stuff, all that for the people stuff, but you for your pockets, my sister. The scammers, hey, these scammers getting exposed left and right out here.
In June 2019, Cannon Grant accepted a $6,000 grant for violence prevention from a Massachusetts district attorney's office. Prosecutors say that money instead went to a nail salon, going out to eat, hotel rooms, fuel costs, and car rentals. Authorities also say the couple collected more than $100,000 in pandemic unemployment assistance, though Cannon Grant was earning tens of thousands of dollars in consulting fees, and her husband was earning weekly pay from a job. The couple's accused of using the money on plane tickets, new furniture, to defray the cost of a motorcycle, and more.
There will be a virtual court hearing for Monica Cannon Grant at 2 p.m. Reporting in
parents.
Yeah, so like I said, I have an article from the United States Attorney's Office in the District of Massachusetts. And it's the former director of Boston nonprofit pleads guilty to fraud charges. Monica Cannon Grant diverted thousands donated to nonprofit to pay for personal expenses, defrauded Boston COVID-19 Relief Fund, Boston Office of Housing Stability, and Suffolk County District Attorney's Office, among others. Boston, well, the founder and former chief executive officer of the local nonprofit Violence in Boston, that was the organization Violence in Boston, pleaded guilty today in federal court in Boston to making misrepresentations in order to obtain thousands of dollars in donations to nonprofit Violence in Boston that she then diverted to pay for personal expenses, defrauding the city of Boston out of COVID-19 relief funds and rental assistance money, defrauding the Suffolk County District Attorney's Office out of community reinvestment grant funds, filing false tax returns for 2 years, and failing to file tax returns for 2 years. Monica Cannon Grant, who's 44, of Taunton, pleaded guilty to 18 counts, three counts of wire fraud conspiracy, 10 counts of wire fraud, 1 count of mail fraud, 2 counts each of filing false tax returns and failing to file tax returns. The U.S. District Court Judge Angel Kelly scheduled sentencing for January 29th of 2026. So they're going to sentence her in January. Cannon Grant was charged along with her co-conspirator and husband, Clark Grant, in a 27-count superseding indictment. Clark Grant's charges were dismissed in May of 2023 due to his death. I wonder how that happened. Cannon Grant and Clark Grant had previously been charged in an 18-count indictment in March of 2022. It says, clearly, if she pled guilty, there at least some smoke and fire involved. I would know from quick look that the U.S. Attorney Lee Foley went after the black women was a Trump pick. We don't dismiss the charges. Right. Now, I feel you. Because there's a lot of scamming going on. But everybody not getting caught who's scamming. But you shouldn't be scamming. And if you out here scamming, especially if you're scamming the community in the name of helping the community, in the name of protecting the community, especially off the backs of black people who've died. If you're scamming, especially in that lens, you need your ass whooped, right? We're not here to protect scammers, but at the same time, I do recognize what you're saying, that they not going after all scammers. Some scammers getting to go up under the radar. I do get that. It says Cannon Grant was the founder and CEO of Violence in Boston, an anti-violence nonprofit formerly established in 2017. the stated purpose of which was to reduce violence, raise social awareness, and aid community causes in Greater Boston, among other purposes. And this says Monica Cannon Grant repeatedly scammed multiple public financial programs and stole money donated by members of the public who benefited who believed their donations would aid in reducing violence and promote social awareness. Instead, Cannon Grant used donations to satisfy her own greed while falsely portraying herself as a legitimate nonprofit organizer. She betrayed the trust of everyone who donated and the public who supported her fraudulent charity, said the United States Attorney Leah B. Foley. That's what you're talking about. Today's plea demonstrates once again that no one is above the rule of law. Says, unfortunately, this is how the scamming works. They target, yep. But my question to the people is, what made you think Monica Cannon Grant had the solution to the violence in the community? Like, what did she demonstrate? What did she show? Did she do a PowerPoint presentation? Like, what's her background in stopping violence? What's her background in dealing with anything in the community to be able to stop anything that significantly impacted the community in a negative way? What was her history in that? And just because somebody has an organization and is talking good, don't mean you give them your damn money. So what was Monica doing? What was her history? What did she have on her resume that showed that, hey, I should give her money, because if I donate money to her, she has the proper means to help stop the violence in our community? What happened? What was going on? What did she say? What did she show? Because if you can't show me that, then what we talking about? Why are you giving her money? It's like the community signs up to be scammed. Did anybody think about anything? Or did it just say, well, it sounds good and it made me feel good, so I'm gonna go ahead and rock with Monica. I'm gonna go ahead and give Monica this money, and Monica gonna stop the violence in our community because Monica has the proper organization to stop the violence in the community. Monica has the proper credentials, the proper background to stop the violence in our community. What was that demonstrated? Monica Cannon Grant was going to be the one who stopped the violence in Boston. Really? Okay. All right. PR was going on, presentation. That's all that matters. That's all that matters. And that's sad. That's all that matters. Don't nobody have to have no real credentials on nothing. Just be popular and make people feel a certain way, and you can be the leader. People will sign up to follow you. That's wild. It says today's guilty plea underscores our commitment, and this is I think this is Kelly Larko Ward, who I'm reading. It says today's guilty plea underscores our commitment to investigating and holding accountable anyone who commits fraud. Ms. Cannon Grant defrauded several state programs and exploited her position in the community to line her own pockets. And that's Kelly Larko Ward, inspector in charge of the U.S. Postal Inspection Services of the Boston Division. This investigation showcases the results that postal inspectors strive to achieve in collaboration with our law enforcement partners. The successful resolution through a plea is a result of the strong investigative work, dedication, and partnership of postal inspectors and the U.S. Attorney's Office. I commend the relentless work and commitment to ensuring justice was achieved by all those involved. So, yeah, I mean, she was low-hanging fruit, but she put herself in a bad position. It says Monica Cannon Grant illegally enriched herself as part of a scheme that fraudulently diverted vital taxpayer resources away from those in need of unemployment insurances benefits during the COVID-19 pandemic, stated Jonathan R. Malone, special agent in charge of the Northeast Region, U.S. Department of Labor, Office of Inspector General. Protecting the integrity of the unemployment insurance program remains one of our biggest priorities, and we will continue to work closely with the U.S. Attorney's Office and our other law enforcement partners to protect the integrity of the U.S. Department of Labor programs and operations. Hey man, they seem like they lined up to come after her. She might get the business. Monica Cannon Grant might get the business. They might make an example out of her, but once again, she put herself in this position. Why are you scamming your own people? Oh, because you greedy. We can tell. We can tell she's greedy. As she admitted at today's plea hearing from 2017 through at least 2020, Cannon Grant represented herself as an uncompensated VIB director, and that's Violence in Boston director, to donors and other charitable institutions, when in reality, she and her late husband agreed to utilize their control over VIB's accounts and funds to pay for personal expenditures by diverting VIB funds to themselves through cash withdrawals, cash checks, wire transfers to personal bank accounts, and debit purchase. Over the course of the conspiracy, Cannon Grant diverted thousands of dollars in donor money and earmarked for VIB and her own personal use. She also applied for or certified the applications for grants offered by public and private entities that included materially false representations. For example, Cannon Grant conspired to use VIB to defraud the Boston Resiliency Fund, a charitable fund established by the city of Boston to provide aid to Boston residents during the COVID-19 pandemic. After receiving approximately $53,977 in pandemic relief funds, Cannon Grant withdrew approximately $30,000 in cash from the VIB bank account, made deposits of $5,200 and $1,000 into her personal checking account, and made payments on her personal auto loan and car insurance policy. Cannon Grant did not disclose any of these personal expenses to the BFR and instead falsely reported to BFR that all of its grant funds had been appropriately expended. She going to jail. They throwing the book at her ass. She going under the jail. Cannon Grant is wild. So I'm gonna play a little more of this. Now, this video is after the indictment, before she was officially charged and pled guilty and all those things there. After the indictment, after all the news broke, somebody invited her to speak at a school. Adults are constantly failing the children. And so y'all stay tuned make sure y'all check out our Friday breakdown, because that's one of the things we're getting into, how adults constantly failing these kids. But somebody invited this lady, after all this is going on, somebody invited her to come speak to the kids. So that's what this video is talking about.
Demanding answers from the superintendent. They want to know how a community activist facing more than a dozen federal fraud charges was invited to speak to students. Well, we spoke with the activist, Monica Cannon Grant. She told WBZ's Louisa Moeller she doesn't see anything wrong with talking to the kids.
Well, on its face, that doesn't sound very good.
I know my ex-husband's outraged.
As a parent, I just feel like it's not good. Yeah.
She's a well-known racial justice activist who organized a rally of thousands after the murder of George Floyd. But more recently, she's been in trouble. Indicted last year on 18 counts of fraud for allegedly stealing money donated to her nonprofit Violence in Boston.
Can you understand why they might be upset given the fact that you're under federal investigation?
No, because I'm innocent until proven guilty.
Today, we spoke with Monica, not only about her presence at the school and whether she stole money.
No, I didn't.
As a mom, would you have had a problem with someone who is under federal indictment giving a speech to your kids?
No, because the people closest to the problem understand how to solve it. I am not the first black activist. In fact, there are 326 black activists facing federal charges.
But also
She don't know how to solve no damn problems in our black community. Lady, stop. You don't know how to solve nothing. So you the one that got the answer. You the one that got the answer. All right.
The derogatory phrase she called former Boston Mayor Marty Walsh.
It's because she's a liar. We can see that she's a liar. If you innocent, you ain't supposed to plead guilty. She's a liar.
Not controversial to use a curse word. I think people who curse are extremely intelligent.
The superintendent told me by phone that the district is committed to ensuring a vetting process for outside speakers. He also wants to be careful not to discourage the voices of students.
It is very curious as to why somebody would be invited to a public school with that amount of charges on them.
The school committee will hold a meeting on all this right here at Town Hall tonight, where parents can air their opinions. In Billerica, Louisa Moeller, WBZ News.
So yeah, that's Monica Cannon Grant. That's what she got going on. They invited her to the school. She's innocent until proven guilty. But then she said she was guilty. Don't be lying. Like, especially for the kids, around the kids. You want to go talk to the kids about what? How to scam the community. You want to teach another generation how to either be scammers or get scammed. Who invited her to the school? That's what I would want to know. Who invited her to the school? They got to be fired. Let me read you a little more though. It says, in addition, Cannon Grant conspired to defraud Boston's Office of Housing Stability by concealing thousands of dollars of household income in order to obtain $12,600 in rental assistance from the city of Boston. Instead of truthfully reporting accurate information about the family's earnings and benefits, Cannon Grant and her late husband misrepresented the actual household income to obtain rent relief funds that were intended to aid Boston residents who were facing housing insecurity. And so for all the people that she claimed that she's fighting for, she's stealing from the people. She's taking resources from the people to line her pockets. Cannon Grant and her late husband also conspired to defend the Massachusetts Department of Unemployment Assistance by submitting a fraudulent application for pandemic unemployment assistance and certifying on a weekly basis that they were not working and did not receive over $89 in income during the prior week. In addition, Cannon Grant filed false tax returns for 2017 and 2018 and failed to file tax returns in 19 and 20, omitting tens of thousands of dollars in income that Cannon Grant received in salary from violence in Boston and through work as a consultant. She lying, man. Monica Cannon Grant, she's a wild person. Amina in the building, y'all. Amina in the building. What's going on? Peace and love to you. What's going on? Amina is in the building. Y'all, we can exist now because Amina is in the building. I appreciate you as always being here. We talk about Monica Cannon Grant out here stealing money from the community. Monica Cannon Grant going around talking about she fighting for the people. She talking about she for the people. She hate the police. She all this stuff. She fighting the system of white supremacy. No, baby, you are aiding the system of white supremacy. You are an ally to the system of white supremacy wrapped in a guise of revolution. Come on, man. She put herself in the position for sure. I'll be looking at how many years she gets. Rita Cornwell embezzled $53 million, got 93 years. Gina Champion, Kane, Ponzi, 40. 400 million, got 15 years. We're gonna see. We're gonna see. We're gonna see. I'm not condoning it, but I doubt black women is gonna get that white. But see, that's the main thing though. That's what I always tell people. Like, black people like to complain about the punishment. So you already on one end, before you get punished, you're already complaining about how white people mistreat us and white people are unfair. And then you do something criminal. Well, you think the system going, well, you know what? I know you did something criminal, but we're gonna be morally right with y'all. I never heard of her either till earlier this week, Monica Cannon Grant. What we found out is she is a Black Lives Matter affiliate. She's an offshoot of Black Lives Matter. Of course, it would be Black Lives Matter. She started her own organization, Violence in Boston, and her late husband were taking money from the organization. So, yeah, I've never heard of her either, but apparently she's been in the news since 2022. I don't know where I've been, but you know, black people, we got to stop doing stuff that we ain't supposed to do, especially things that hurt our own community. We got to stop doing that, and then like to complain about the punishment that we get from people who already are going to treat us unfair. They don't care about us. So when are we going to start caring about us? If we don't care about us, yeah. Oh yeah, man, you know, BLM, you know, that's black folk who love money. That's what BLM stand for now, black folk who love money, because they love money more than the community, because they gonna take your money. They gonna sell you a sob story and take your money. But my problem, the other half of that problem for me is people keep lining up to get their money took. Monica Cannon Grant told the people she was gonna stop the violence in her community, and she ain't got no credentials to stop no violence. In my mind, I want to be so petty right now and say other things that she haven't stopped, but I ain't gonna do it. I ain't gonna do it. Okay, I appreciate you, my brother. I appreciate you. I'm gonna definitely check that out. And then remember, y'all, on Saturday, we watching the Independence Day project together. So remember that. Make sure you tune in Saturday to watch the Independence Day project. So, oh yeah, and I got a question for y'all too before we get to the next story. So y'all know we finished reading Frantz Fanon's book, Black Skin, White Mask. We finished reading Black Skin, White Mask. So this is my first time doing this on the live, but I want to do this. So which book should we choose for next week? Let me take this off real quick. Which book should we choose to read starting next week? What should be our next book? Is it the Miseducation of the Negro? Okay, you let me just say the Miseducation. I ain't gonna lie, I do want to read this. I ain't gonna front. I do want to read this book. So we got the Miseducation of the Negro, Carter G. Woodson. We have this. We have Harry Edwards' book, The Revolt of the Black Athlete. We got this. I threw this in the rotation. So Harry Edwards. To my this Miseducation. Yeah. I got this in college. It was a psychology class. Yeah. My freshman year in college, it was a psychology class. That's when I brought this book. I had this book since 2020, since 2002, as a matter of fact. This book older than a whole lot of people. So this is the second book, Harry Edwards, The Revolt of the Black Athlete. That's our second book to pick. And remember, the poll is in the post. Go to my post, go to my page and go to the post and make your pick. The third book is by Any Dreams Necessary by the brother Dr. Bruce Strobel Jr. Remember, he was a guest on the channel not too long ago. So if you want to learn more about Bruce Strobel, go ahead and check out that interview. But this is a good book. So check it out. Anti-Racist Strategies for Sustainability, Resilience, and Environmental Justice in African-American Communities. And then the last book is my homie book, The Chasm by Patrick Irving. The Growing Divide Between Black Men and Women. This is one of the best books I've read that gives real good information about what happened to the Black family in America. So, I wanted to throw these two books in the mix because I want to help promote these brothers' books as well. So make sure y'all go to the post and make your pick. Say, all right, got you. Carter G. Woodson. Yeah, I ain't gonna lie. That was a good read. That's a real good read. All right, so you see it on the screen. Make sure you hit that like button too, comment, subscribe, share. The shadow ban and all that stuff. It's still happening. But if I had to send one to a kid, and I ain't go front. Like, it's a good book. Like, the Miseducation of the Negro is one of the best books I've ever read. I ain't even go front. So I ain't even mad at it. But I did want to, give my homie some love, put him in there. I appreciate you, Amina. I mean, I ain't gonna lie, I try to make the choices hard, but I want to make sure that I give good options. Your decision your choice is gonna be made off your decision. So, your decision gonna be made off your choices. All right, so I remember, go to my post and make your pick. So let's talk about the Kingdom of Kabala. Let's learn about it. Scamming 101.
may have seen this story of this Texas woman, this very young Texas woman who was found living in the Scottish woodland near Jedburgh. This is in the Scottish borders, and she is among a cult who claim they are a lost African tribe of Hebrews that rightfully owns the land. They call themselves the Kingdom of Kabala. It seems hilarious, but once you start digging deeper and deeper, this story is actually very, very dark. Now I'm going to be reading from a number of sources, including this article called "My Daughter Wanted to Be a Lawyer, Then She Ran Away to Join a Woodland Tribe." This is by Samuel Lovett in the Times UK, plus a number of articles from the New York Post and the Independent. They're both covering this story extensively because it gets interesting.
It's like that Nature Boy stuff. It's like low budget Nature Boy stuff,
let's say. So we will go over the articles and then I will circle back to some important points that these themes just keep coming up again and again as we cover cults on this channel. I will also include some firsthand video of these people because of course they have a YouTube. Of course they have a YouTube. Now, Cora Taylor is the legal name of the missing woman. The Kingdom of Kabala encampment, it consists of 3 people, a husband and wife team, plus Taylor. Now, this is an interview with Taylor's mother, Melba Whitehead. She, Whitehead, soon learned that Taylor, 21, had traveled to the UK with her 10-month-old daughter to join a tribe known as the Kingdom of Kabala. There, Taylor, who has renamed herself Asnat, forages in the forest for food, bathes in a nearby stream, and prays every day to a god called Yahweh, while serving as a handmaiden to the group's leader, King Atahine, a former opera singer by the...
People crazy, man. People are crazy. And a lot of these people, like the people who started the Kingdom of Kabala, they know people are crazy. They know they crazy. And they know people are crazier than them because people sign up to follow them. So they know it. So please laugh, my brother. Laugh your heart out. Yeah. She need her ass whooped. She took her baby. Yes, Amina. Yes. That's what really caught my attention with this. Like, yes, she took her baby down now. Crazy.
Name of Kofi Ofe and his wife Jean Gasho, who goes by Queen Nandi. Now, this is King Atahine. I do not think you get this figure by foraging for food unless you're foraging at a 7-Eleven. Yo, this is video from their TikTok. Where did you forage this cake in the Scottish forest? Where did you forage these plastic wrapped lamb chops? Get out of here.
Yeah, they're talking about they out there foraging. They got lamb chops and stuff. And it's funny because listen what she's gonna say.
Also, there is a baby involved, a baby. Taylor went to the UK with her young daughter, whom the family could not locate. They couldn't locate either of them. So that must have compounded their anxiety tenfold. Now, The Independent interviewed Taylor's aunt, Terry Allen, and she said that she had no idea what her niece was doing online. She had no idea. Allen said Taylor kept it totally hidden from the family when she began communicating in 2023 with the so-called Kingdom of Kabala leader King Atahine, the former opera singer and PR agent from Ghana, whose real name is Kofi Ofe. We went over this. A PR agent. Of course he's a PR agent. We discussed last week how building a brand and building a cult of personality are very, very similar. Check out that video. The influencer to cult leader pipeline is undefeated.
Preying on the simple-minded. What were we just talking about earlier about the presentation of it sounding good, making people feel good, that made people want to sign up, that made people want to follow. Hey, this person is going to save us. This person is going to save me from myself. No, they're going to take you to a dark place. They're going to drag you to a dark place that you may not be able to come back from. We got to wise up. Her family need to go down there and whoop some ass.
Because it is. Also, it looks like I have more material for an upcoming video called The Artist to Cult Leader Pipeline is Undefeated. It all ends in a cult, doesn't it? Anyway, Ofe and Gasho say that they are rulers of this lost tribe of Hebrews and that they are in Scotland to reclaim their stolen land. This land was supposedly stolen from their ancestors 400 years ago when Queen Elizabeth I deported all...
Just them two. It's just them two. Just them two ancestors that was stolen from. Just them two. Okay.
All the black people from England and Scotland. Now, this is interesting because Queen Elizabeth I did in fact issue a decree to remove black Moors, as they called them. They called them the black Moors then. She thought there were too many of them and they were taking English jobs. Doesn't that sound familiar? Now, how many were actually deported is up for debate, with most historians putting the number very, very low, if any at all. However, it does show the historic xenophobia against black people. Now, the Kingdom of Kabala, these two, would have had a better case if they stuck to the Hebrew thing, because England did very much deport their Jews in a very unfortunate chapter in their history. They exiled them. What we find from the couple's online YouTube page is that the African community in the UK, particularly Gasho's family, are the most vocal against these claims. Now, maybe they have personal relationships with these two and they think that they are just silly from dealing with them. Now, maybe they think the couple is bringing negative...
They probably down there running the whole train on that young girl, on her mind and everything else, just messing that young girl up. And she brought her baby down there. Who's the father of the baby? Like, who's the... man, please, I would be in Scotland kicking up dust.
Press to the African community in the UK, which reflects badly on them. They're trying to clean their own house. And maybe it's because Scottish people are pale as ghosts.
Because they know people are crazy. They know at least one person crazy enough to sign up for their foolishness. They know at least one.
And melanated people living there would have also evolved to be that pale. So how are these people chocolate colored? The origin story is on its face ridiculous. And yes, it is stirring up a lot of racism from the locals, which is obviously horrible. The Independent has an exclusive with Taylor's aunt, Vandora Skinner, who raised her as a teen. They say, Taylor, who lived with Skinner during her teenage years, was, according to her aunt, a very, very unruly teen who...
Makes sense. Makes sense. Because why would you run away from your family to Scotland?
Could be very disrespectful, but was always given a lot of latitude at home. She lived in a 4-bedroom house with her own room, and maybe I shouldn't have been as light on her as I was, Skinner said. I allowed her boyfriends to come over, and maybe I shouldn't have. But I did get her to graduate high school. Taylor
Skinner. What are adults failing the children? Adults failing. You let her do whatever she wants. You let her boyfriends come over. You want it to be like that much? You didn't give a damn about the quality of her life. No wonder her ass is in Scotland with her baby. She ain't got no sense. She ain't never had no damn sense because she ain't have no adults around her to pour any sense into her. This is crazy. I blame Skinner. Well, the young girl, she crazy as hell too, but I blame Skinner. Shoot, like Amina. Skinner, what the hell is wrong with Skinner? She crazy.
Taylor tried to get her then boyfriend to relocate to the Scottish forest with her, but he was turned off by King Atahene and Queen Nandi's ungodly ritual.
Oh man, well, wait till that Friday breakdown, my brother. Wait till that Friday breakdown. I'm saving all that because I blame us too. But I'm saving all that smoke for that Friday breakdown. I'm going in because I do blame us because we crazy as hell.
And decided against it, according to Skinner. The 21-year-old then ended the relationship in May and headed to Scotland with her then 8-month-old daughter, whose father was no longer in the picture, Skinner said. Now, the Times speaks to the mother who remembers Taylor's teenage years a little differently. Whitehead, 45, said her daughter, a straight-A student who wanted to be a lawyer, had been brainwashed by the couple. Her daughter started seeing a psychologist in 2021 and is vulnerable. She fears Taylor is pregnant after Taylor said in a recent social media video that she was acting as a surrogate for the Queen. It is absolutely insane that they are trying to convince.
So why was she living with her aunt? And where's her father? I got so many questions. Oh, I got so many questions.
This girl to have a baby. Like, didn't she just have a baby? Where is that baby? Now, the Times article continues and it gets very, very dark. Yeah, even darker than that. Speaking to the Times from her home in Dallas, Whitehead said, "This cult is crazy. They pose a threat to everyone around them. I don't want my daughter dead." She, Whitehead, claimed that 2 former handmaidens were missing, presumed dead. Cora is very vulnerable, she added. She's not capable of taking care of herself. She is in a trance. However,
man, I would be in Scotland. Oh, I would have got to Scotland so fast. Oh man, I would have got to Scotland so fast. It would have been some dust kicked up in Scotland, man. Ain't no way. Ain't no way. Yeah, like ain't no way, man. Ain't no way.
Taylor recently posted a video in which she said to the UK authorities, "Obviously, I am not missing. Leave me alone. I'm an adult, not a helpless child." Okay, first off, to me, that "I'm an adult, not a helpless child" line, that seems very coached. But that is based on instinct. That's based on what I'm seeing. I don't know this girl personally, but American Gen Zs, they don't use those kind of words. They don't use the word helpless very much.
Like we keep failing ourselves. We keep failing each other. We keep failing the kids. Like what happened in her life that led to her deciding to run away and join the cult? Why was she even that vulnerable to begin with? Right. Yeah. It's a lot of failure that happened within her family and her community. Like a lot of stuff that happened that wasn't supposed to happen.
That's the vocabulary that is in these people's videos. Also, where are these missing women? What happened to them? I hope the Scottish authorities are investigating these claims, because that's a very serious claim. Ms. Whitehead does not seem to think that these Scottish authorities are doing much at all. She claims they're doing next to nothing. Whitehead said that her agony has been compounded by the Scottish authorities' alleged refusal to give her custody of her granddaughter, now 1 year old, whom officials rescued from the camp. Apparently, the baby was taken from the camp because it's not safe to have a baby in this camp. And this is not unique to Cora's baby.
But I don't know what Scotland's laws is, but you're dealing with international stuff now. Like, that's wild. Oh man.
On their YouTube page, this couple, particularly Queen Nandi, talks about how the UK authorities came and took their natural children. They took custody of Ofa and Gasho's children because other Zimbabweans reported them to the UK Child Protective Services for their strange practices.
Zimbabweans in their hundreds made calls, because even for Zimbabweans, they also say that
like her parents are supposed to be there, man. Like her parents are supposed to be over there. Like, I'm getting to Scotland. If my daughter got caught up in some of this stuff, I'm getting to Scotland. There's nothing that's gonna stop me from getting to Scotland. I'm getting to Scotland.
what we do is not normal as black people. They say, why are you doing this in a white man's country? You cannot practice your African spirituality in this country. So they were calling social services, they were calling the police to say, go and get the children.
Now, just watching that video, this woman seems very sympathetic to me. She's articulate and she's also pregnant at the time. So my first thought was not, oh, she's a predator. In the video, she talks about how the people of Stockton, which is a different town, which they ran out of, the people of Stockton ran them out of town. It's crazy because multiple mobs are coming at these people and you're like, oh my God, that is horrible. And then you learn more and you're like, do these mobs have a point? Am I sympathizing with them like I sympathize with the Frankenstein mob? Just asking. Anyway, how did this happen? How did Taylor end up in Scotland? The Times interview with her mother sheds some light on this. In a different life, Taylor would have become a lawyer, her mother said. She was popular and did well at school, where she was a member of the chess club. Every other weekend, she would get her nails done and visit the mall with her mother or one of her aunts. But during the pandemic,
hey man, them symptoms, man. Them symptoms of a community who've been beaten down, who had the soul took from them. You're right.
Oh, the pandemic. Taylor became more insular. When she returned to school in October 2021, she no longer seemed like herself, her teacher said. Something was wrong, Whitehead added. The pandemic strikes again. Now, I personally know a number of people whose lives were disrupted, let's say, and they were disrupted going forward because of the pandemic, because they stayed home and they got online and they became radicalized, but in various different movements. So the pandemic and the lockdown really affected a lot of people. goes on. She had a falling out with her mother the following January. The relationship deteriorated and Taylor went to live with an aunt. She turned down a paid-for scholarship at a law school in Atlanta, Georgia, insisting she wanted to go to a cosmetology school in Dallas instead, Whitehead said. So according to her mother, the pandemic and the lockdown preceded Taylor's downward spiral in life. Then she went to live with her aunt. Now, this from Taylor's Facebook. Yes, I am very happy with my king and queen. I was never missing. I fled a very abusive, toxic family who abused me sexually since I was a child. So you don't go missing to your abusers, Taylor said in a...
Not saying what she's saying is true, but the fact that that's being spoken. This is messy. This is very, very, very messy. I hope that's not true. I really hope that's not true. I hope it's not true for that family. But what would make her flee to Scotland to be with these two people? What will make, because and you can't dismiss it because she left. Like she had the falling out with her mom. She went and lived with her aunt, and then she go to Scotland. Like what? You know what I'm saying? So family might be getting exposed out here. Family might be getting exposed. Daughter might have went to Scotland because y'all out here dehumanizing her. I'm just saying, you don't flee from your family to Scotland with your 9-month-old just off the whim. I'm just saying.
Facebook post on August 20th. Now, unfortunately, we have to take current cult members' recollection of their families with a grain of salt. Now,
I believe they said she was 19. I believe she was 19.
Read a quick passage from this book called Cults and Our Myths by Margaret Singer. Version of personal history. Another thing is called running your own dirty story, meaning make your history sound the worst possible. Such revision of history is used in both live-in and live-out cults, and the cult's general purpose in the exercise is to let members see why being with us is the right place to be. New members got the idea right away that they were to tell only sad, negative, unwholesome events, recount only disastrous relationships, and end with praise about the group. They were never to tell about good times, fine parents, loving siblings, hardworking relatives, or positive life experiences. Families had to be portrayed as abusive, alcoholic, uncaring, self-centered, bourgeois or capitalist, or otherwise despicable. Taylor's family denies all allegations of abuse. This is from the Independent. However, Taylor's relatives on Thursday pushed back stridently against those assertions, describing her younger years as very sheltered and protected. Allen said Taylor was brought up in church, but not their religion. Not this thing that they got going. It's a bunch of hogwash. Now, unfortunately, brainwashing can be so complete that people misremember their childhoods through the lens of the cult, the current cult ideology. Now, Taylor may be telling the truth as she now understands it, or maybe she did come from a sexually abusive, toxic family. We can't make that call until Taylor is out of the cult and remembering things clearly. Now, statistically, women are much less likely to sexually abuse than men, but that doesn't mean it doesn't happen. It's not unheard of. Now, the Times article says, in 2023, Taylor's partner at the time, the father of her child, introduced her online to the Kingdom of Kabala. But the post says that it was Taylor connected with the kingdom in...
So the dude introduced her to the Kingdom of Kabala. The baby daddy. Oh, makes sense.
2023, allegedly discovering the Facebook group of the Kingdom of Kabala through a high school classmate. The Times reported the following. They sent Taylor money as she shared her struggles with them, as well as photos of herself dressed in facial paint and costume. People, you gotta talk to your daughters. No one wanted to see pictures of them.
I'm just saying, you got to be in your children's lives. You need to know what's going on in your children's lives and all that stuff. That you got to be active in the children's lives. You can't just put clothes on their back, put food in their belly, put a roof over their head. You got to raise them as well. They're full human beings.
In costumes or whatever. Anyone saying, oh, send me pictures, is doing that for the girls' benefit. Girls, you are a walking steak. And sending pictures of yourself in costume to people online, it's like drenching yourself in A1 and sending photos to a lion. Why would you do that? Anyway, on May 18th of this year, Taylor, who was living with her aunt, left Dallas and flew to the UK on a 6-month tourist visa. She filed a missing persons report in Dallas and Scotland, but because Taylor is an adult, the authorities could not intervene until her visa expired, when she could be legally deported. I love legal technicalities like this. It's the tax evasion of cult drama because, yes, she is an adult and we run into this problem all the time. You can't kidnap people. It's hard to prove brainwashing in court. So Taylor has free will and she is allowed to run off with Scotland with strangers she met online. It's just the way it is. Whitehead said the group had been active for 8 years and that her daughter was the fifth girl to have been ensnared. Another American woman who claimed to be a former handmaiden reached out to Whitehead in June, saying Taylor and her daughter were in danger. She claimed 2 women recruited before her had never been found after joining the tribe. Like Taylor, the woman had a difficult relationship with her family and became close to the couple. She said the first few months were great after she arrived, Whitehead said, but they started pressuring her as to why she wasn't pregnant yet. She eventually managed to run away. So I'm reading this. I have to wonder, did they run away? Is this source even trustworthy? The Times is...
As to why she wasn't pregnant yet. Wow. But you have to also look at it. They're saying 2 other people were not found ever again. What has this young lady got herself caught up in? And why did she feel the need to have to flee her family?
Printing it, but they are distancing themselves by putting it off on this unknown source, who probably doesn't want to come forward anyway. Still, they did print it. Now, the article ends with, Whitehead fears what will happen if Taylor gets pregnant. I need them to open their eyes and take a look at what Cora is doing and who she's with, she said. Evidently, she is not capable of making decisions that are good for her and her child. So send her home. I am her mother. I will ensure she gets the help that she needs. Now, this is the problem with cults. It's obvious to us that Cora is not capable of making decisions for herself, at least right now, but legally she's an adult. So we're gonna have to wait.
That's that critical mass you're talking about, my brother. Now, I'm with you, man. I'm with you. Everybody ain't go. Everybody can't make it. Everybody can't make it. So those of us who are serious about something, that's who we rock with. If you ain't, I don't know what to tell you.
That visa to expire. Now, it looks like the people in the area are fed up with them. This is the second time this has happened, the second area. This is a story from the Telegraph titled, Tribe in the Scottish Woods Attacked with Rocks. A tribe that established camp in a Scottish forest were attacked by locals who threw rocks and called them delusional. One of the men in the footage said, "This is a rapist cult and I will always stick to that." Well, honestly, Ms. Whitehead, Cora's mother, would agree with him. As would the woman who ran away. In another video posted to Miss Gasha's Facebook on Tuesday, a woman was recorded entering their encampment and trying to pull the tents down. The SBC member for Jedburgh, Scott Hamilton, called for an end to mob mentality, even though the group's ludicrous accusations of heritage and history are upsetting. Jean said that members of the public called police as they witnessed the tribe being racially attacked and harassed on TikTok Live by over 15 people from the Jedburgh community. A further video shows the police arriving and asking the tribe if the alleged attackers hurt them in any way or destroyed their property. All of the victims are Black as well. There are Black young women who are being used as surrogates or attempting to be used as surrogates.
But they're supposed to be for the Black folk, but they're only victimizing Black women, but they're supposed to be for the Black folk. It sounds like white supremacists to me.
I'd just like to point out that the Africans who have a problem with them, the Black Africans in the UK who have a problem with them, reported them to authorities in a civilized manner. It is the native population, the native white population, that is attacking them like a mob of street urchins. No comment, I am just saying. Now look, that mob of street urchins may be racist. It looks like they're hurling racial epithets at these people. But also, this couple has brainwashed this poor young girl and perhaps impregnated her. Also, where are the other women? I think this goes far beyond accusations of heritage at this point, when there are people missing. Well, you let me know what you think. Do you think Taylor will come back to her family? Are the Scottish authorities completely clueless, or is there more going on behind the scenes? I sure hope that they are doing something about this, because this is awful, at least trying to locate these other women. Now, one point I would like to learn is if Cora Taylor is suffering from some kind of postpartum depression or postpartum psychosis. It would seem that she was also already having psychological problems as far back as 2021. Could the baby and the childbirth process have exacerbated it? That's something we need to look into. Now, I really hope that Miss Whitehead gets her daughter back. You can do everything right as a parent, and still your child can be radicalized online. My only advice is to teach them about cult tactics and brainwashing techniques. And I don't think that most people even consider that, because they don't consider it as a possibility for them or their child. Also, Cora, if you ever see this video, it is the easiest thing in the world to change your name. This story is all over the world. It's all over the news. You're infamous right now. But you would be shocked how fast you can disappear and change your name. You might say, oh, but my picture's out there. Whatever. Change your hair. If someone says, oh, you look like so-and-so, you just say, oh yeah, I do kind of look like her, huh? A lot of people look like a lot of other people. Move to a big city and you can have a normal life.
All right. I don't need to hit all that. So I was gonna get to the last video, it was police cam video, but it's all good. We done ran a little longer than I expected, but you know, I got to go to work in the morning. But I wanted to make sure I get this live in. But talking about these scammers, man, a cult is different from a community. Scammers, cultists, all those people, they play on the gullibility, they play on the defensiveness, they play on the low-hanging fruit, they play on the people who have issues going on in their life. They play on that, and they lead those people down the path of darkness. They take advantage of those people. You can see the Kingdom of Kabala, and in some cases, allegedly, some people not coming back. The community has failed. Like, the community is being failed all the time by people that they choosing to follow, by each other in the community, by family members. Community is different from a cult. We seem like we don't have a real communal mindset, but we call ourselves a community, because a real community takes care of themselves. They take care of each other. They protect each other. They don't allow each other to be manipulated by others. We insulate each other. We got to be better. We got to be better, man. But, you know, I want to talk about Monica Cannon Grant. She going to jail for all that scamming she was talking about, standing up for the black community. She was a lie. And the Kingdom of Kabala out here, they wilding, but they could be dangerous as well. But the young lady's family could be dangerous as well. So, I mean, I just wanted to cover that tonight. Appreciate y'all tuning in. Make sure you hit that like button, comment, subscribe, and share. Remember, catch I got a historical video that I'm dropping tomorrow, the first black television station in the United States. I'm dropping that tomorrow. I got an interview with my man Juanito Wilborn. He's telling his life story about how he was adopted and his family pretty much gave up on him, but how he didn't give up on himself. So that's dropping Thursday. Our Friday breakdown, we going in on these olders, not the elders, these olders. We going in on that. And then Saturday, you know, we watching the Independence Day Project together. So we got a lineup of things that's going on over here. We're going to do what we do. I think YouTube's still on that shadow ban and stuff, but we're going to push through. We're going to keep doing what we do. We're going to keep dropping this content, and y'all keep showing up, because I'm going to be here. So I see y'all live on Saturday. And then after that, we back next Tuesday. So Amina, I appreciate you being here. Nemesis, I appreciate you being here. Michael Lords, I appreciate you being here. Me, Kim, I appreciate you being here tonight, dropping the comment. Let's see who else. And Terrell, I appreciate y'all coming in, showing up. So everybody else, I appreciate y'all too for being here. Hey man, enjoy y'all night. Have a good Tuesday. Make sure you get you some good sleep. If you ain't ate, go get you some good food. Get you a good sleep. Wake up tomorrow and do your thing. I'm going to check your cuz. Yes. See, I know. YouTube. I know it. So I'm going to be putting post in the post section of the lives coming up. But just remember, most weekdays 1 o'clock I'm dropping something. Tuesdays live 9 p.m. Saturdays live 3:30 p.m. Remember that schedule. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, 1 p.m. something coming out. Tuesday night, 9 p.m. something coming out. Saturday at 3:30 p.m. something coming out. All right? Yeah, because YouTube on that. YouTube tripping. I appreciate you, Amina. Hey, I love y'all. Y'all have a good night. And I see y'all live on Saturday. Peace out.